Well, it's that time of year. Players filing for salary arbitration. You can see the board here. Some pretty good names on there. I mean, Bo and Byram. There's two Anaheim Ducks, Dostal and Helleson, Capo Caco. You go down the list there, and then the Winnipeg Jets. Guys, let's start with the Jets, with Dylan Samberg and Gabriel Vilardi, two important pieces of their team going to salary arbitration. We'll see if it ends there, or if the teams or the sides can maybe come to an agreement before then.
Yeah, I think each case is sort of unique to itself. Every player's in their own spot in their careers. But the one thing about filing for arbitration as a player is that you're going to get a contract, and you will be in camp on time.
And you did this, right?
I filed for arbitration. I got there the morning of. I actually settled on a napkin.
What year was that? What team was that?
Oh, boy, that was like 02, Coyotes.
Okay.
And we settled on a Tim Hortons napkin.
Okay.
For a $2
Who were you
million
dealing
deal.
with there?
That was Lawrence Gilman and Mike Barnett were the GMs, and I was looking forward to it. Now, it could be nasty at times. It's not
That's
the way,
what I was wondering.
But
were you worried about
No, I have the brief.
going to arbitration and they tell you you're you're that negatively?
The brief called me the worst forward in the NHL the year prior. So, I mean, you can't get much worse than that.
I would have thrown a left hook. I don't know if I could have taken that mentally.
So I was excited for the opportunity to defend myself in court or in the arbitration. Never got there. But for a player, you know you're going to get a contract. You're going to get paid approximately what you're worth. You shouldn't be that disappointed. And if you're Winnipeg, if you're Vilardi or Samberg, these are two massive pieces to the Winnipeg Jets, especially when you think about Nick Ehlers going. Vilardi becomes that much more important. Samberg is a second-pair guy 1 year away from UFA status. And they are going to get massive contracts, and they'll deserve them. And so I think, as opposed to trying to negotiate these all the way through the summer, maybe it lingering down towards camp, at least this way, they'll get a number, and then they can negotiate extensions off that. But, you know, Vilardi on those point totals, he's going to be $6-7+ million easily, given how well he played. And Samberg's going to be more than that, Dano, even though you should appreciate this. Dylan Samberg is a defensive defenseman who doesn't put up great counting stats, like his goals and assists are not that high, but his underlying number is really strong. When he's in the lineup, the Jets hardly ever lost last year. In the games where he missed, they were basically a 500 team. Neil Pionk and him were incredible together. Pionk without him, not nearly as good. He has a very strong case, and there are some players on some teams that their value to that team specifically is maybe even greater than the value on the open market. And Samberg is probably that because he wants to stay and because how well he fits there. So both guys are going to get massive contracts if they decide to get to arbitration.
The value of a player, I try to tell so many fans and people along the way, is not always in your offensive statistics, especially for a shutdown defenseman, solid defenseman like Samberg. You always like to have, I know a lot of GMs do, even back in our day, Johnny, and today, where that good, consistent guy you can rely on defensively, and that guy, that puck mover that gets up ice quickly. Not that Samberg doesn't move the puck well, because all these guys are mobile and can skate now. But you need that balance. He's an important piece, no question. He really took that step last year. Vilardi is a real nice player in Winnipeg, and you mentioned it. I agree wholeheartedly with you with Ehlers going. So it could get tricky, but you're right. They're going to be, if they don't work out a deal prior to arbitration, they're going to be Winnipeg Jets, and I think Kevin Cheveldayoff, their general manager, wouldn't want it any other way. Those are two guys you need. But Samberg, I kind of compare along the lines of a Gavrikov, even though he's a few years younger, but that kind of mold, that kind of player that you just know he's going to be steady as a rock defensively, and he's only getting better.
Let's talk about the goaltender, one of the goalies on the list, Lucas Dostal. I mean, like, he had a really good year for the Anaheim Ducks. They've made the decision to move on from John Gibson, traded him to the Detroit Red Wings. You would think that, you know, they could have maybe worked out a deal already, but, you know, it does kind of buy them a year here, or two, depending upon if the player, I guess when the team files, the player can decide on the second year or part of the term. They usually don't. But it gives the Ducks a year to have another year to look at and to maybe see exactly what they want to give him long term.
Yeah, yes, but it's important they get him in and signed and play well, because the Ducks no longer want to be building. They want to be there now. And you see the moves they've made, the signings, the trades, that they are looking to be competitive. And while being 500 with the goals against of 3+ and a save percentage of just over 900 doesn't look great, what Anaheim asked him to do last year at times doesn't quite, the numbers don't accurately
describe
describe
chances.
what he was asked to do.
Something they want to tighten
The old goal save above expected was monstrous because he was given
spectacular on a lot of nights.
So, but also, if you're Anaheim, you probably don't mind this because goalies can be strange.
Yes.
Sometimes they're great one year, and sometimes the consistency is not there except for a few guys in the league. So if you're Anaheim, we'll take arbitration. We'll pay you what you're worth. For him, it's going to be $5 million, something like that, on a one-year award.
Yeah.
And then you can do it again next year. If he has another great year, then maybe you go long-term, or you can buy yourself a bit more time, Daniel. But from a club's perspective, I don't mind this because we get 1 year at a good number, and then we see how he does if he can do it 2 years in a row.
And Anaheim, the Ducks and general manager Pat Verbeek and Joel Quenneville there now, the new head coach, would love nothing more than Dostal to continue his rise. There's just not enough good goaltending in the National Hockey League right now. Kind of like baseball in Major League Baseball, where it's tough to find quality pitchers. Well, he looks like he's going to be that guy, but it bides a little time. I agree with you there, Johnny, and he'll get a nice number. Boy, though, watching him some nights, I watched one game against my team, the New Jersey Devils, where I think he made 49 saves, I believe, in the victory. And when he's on, he is as good as it gets. So it's going to be interesting. But they want him in the fold long-term. Anaheim, give them credit. They made strides last year. This is a team that was knocking on the door kind of in March of being a playoff team and, not quite there yet. But they want to have Dostal in the fold, I would believe. So it's going to be you don't think anything will happen prior, Johnny, or do you think it's exactly what you said? They're going to bide some time and let the arbitrators decide.
If I'm Anaheim, if it's a team-friendly contract, I'll do it. If not, we'll just take the arbitration award and go from there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We will see how it plays out.